Welcome to Aphra's Artifacts, where we do some archaeology of our own and dig into the queer side of Star Wars. I'm your host, Alia Morgaine, and it's so great to have you here. So yay, back after a couple weeks, semester started, things have been a little crazy, but everything's going good, feeling good. And I'm excited. I'm currently in the process of scheduling the recording for my 100th episode panel. Super pumped about that. So look forward to that, hopefully in February. So today we're going to talk about Doctor Aphra number 24, Descent. It was written by Alyssa Wong and illustrated by Minkyu Jung and Rachel Rosenberg. And y'all, this issue, although it felt super short, was so good. We get more Meryl, the Ascendant Chadra Fan girl, a whole horde of pissed off Sith, BT1 and 000 being charmingly horrific, and a huge reveal that I cannot wait to see the outcome of. So I am jazzed about this issue. So Aphra's still stuck in her memories, courtesy of the Spark Eternal having completely overtaken her body. And we start with a memory where she backstabbed the Host Antu gang and stole their score on Rudin 3. Problem is, and typical Aphra, she can't remember which time this was that she backstabbed them. So she can't figure out how to escape the memory. Well, Meryl comes to the rescue, floating in the air, flowing ascendant robes, red glowing Spark Eternal at the center of her chest. And Aphra's like, what is going on? There was no floating Chadra Fan with the Spark Eternal as part of them in this memory. And Meryl helps her escape. Unfortunately, they don't end up where Meryl intends for them to end up. And they are taken to a memory of Meryl's in the Sith-filled floating catacombs. To get out of this situation, Meryl must become one with the Spark Eternal. Now, it already is in her chest, so you'd think it would be part of her, but it's not. It turns out it's just a prototype. And the only way she can become fully in tune with the Spark Eternal is complete calm, which sounds kind of Jedi-like, or intense passion. Sounds pretty Sith-like to me. And at the moment, she just feels scared. Until Aphra, again being Aphra, points a gun at her head and demands she hand over the Spark Eternal to the Sith, just like they were asking. Luckily for this unlikely pair, that triggers Meryl's intense passion, and they defeat the Sith. So they finally end up where Meryl was hoping they would end up in the first place, and that is in the Ascendant's lair underneath the University of Barleth. And we learn more about the Ascendant's purpose in creating the Spark Eternal. So that was pretty cool. And I will quote Meryl here. The big advantage the Sith have over us is their connection to the Force. How do you beat someone who can anticipate your every move? The Spark Eternal is my solution. An AI that unifies our bodies and tech on an intuitive level. We think of these areas as two separate systems, but with the Spark, we can eliminate false division. They merge to become a single ultra-responsive one. Using something as powerful as a thought dowser becomes as easy as breathing. I just think that's so cool. I love that we get more information. I love that we get it from an Ascendant herself, from Meryl. So that whole situation was intense. It was interesting. We learned new stuff. Love it. And then it just gets better because meanwhile on Birake, where we saw Sana and crew last issue, we have a delightfully terrifying encounter with 000 and BT1. If you remember, we found them standing behind the door of a hut hidden in the woods at the end of the last issue. So we see 000 looks like he's wearing a scarf, and then BT1 is wearing that silly straw hat, and they're just kind of, traveling out of the hut, and 000 says, "Yes, BT, I did promise you a vacation. And isn't this relaxing? A lovely bit of wholesale murder delivered straight to our doorstep. If only things could always be this idyllic." I love, they are a pair that you can love to hate, because they are ridiculous and terrifying and horrible, but they're also pretty funny. At least 000. We don't really get to hear much from BT1 since he speaks in beeps. So the droids end up seeing Sana and Magna, and so they realize that part of this crew that has come to them are people that they are familiar with. And 000 amusingly says, "You should know that the only thing keeping us from shredding you and your associates into 100 little pieces is inconvenient nostalgia." And that would be what prevented 000 from killing them. And I love that he says inconvenient, just like he can't help feeling it, but it's there. And then Sana makes a proposition that they work together, with the benefit being for BT and 000 that they would have the opportunity for as much wholesale murder as your little processors desire. So that is where we end off with that little part of the issue. And I am curious. I mean, I know Sana's goal is to get the Spark Eternal, stop the Spark Eternal, side benefit, save Aphra. But I'm not quite sure where the wholesale murder comes into play. So I'm really curious to see what their mission ends up being. What the step-by-step process of doing this mission ends up happening. So then we get, as I said, a big reveal. Like, I'm talking, this is super exciting, and I cannot wait to see what happens with this particular reveal. So it ends up, the Ascendant created a sword, seemingly made out of wood, that is specially designed to be a Sith killer. And oh, it looks so cool. Not to mention, it exists in a chunk of wood that is very reminiscent of Excalibur buried in its hunk of stone. Now, if you know anything about me and King Arthur, my Twitter handle, my name, Alia Morgaine, Morgaine is from King Arthur. So, King Arthur's half-sister. So, I'm loving this reference, this whole Sword in the Stone type reference, in relation to the Sith killer sword. I love it. So, it ends up that it is on the Vermilion, Crimson Dawn's flagship, and we see Just Lucky and Ariel arriving in the room it's in, just as the spark-possessed Aphra is pulling it out of that chunk of wood. Y'all, I am loving this. I am living for this series. It is so freaking good. So obviously, and I feel like I say this all the time, but I cannot wait to see where things go from here. Lots of good stuff going on. Excited for the next issue. I promise I will do episodes soon in the future that focus on characters again. But right now I'm just trying to get caught up with my Doctor Aphra, and I really want to put these reviews out because I just love talking about this series because it brings me so much joy. So comment down below what you think about this series right now, what you think about this Sith killer. I'd love to know your thoughts. And be sure to tune in next week for another episode that will be released Monday at 6 p.m. Central. And remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, Follow me on Twitter at Alia Morgaine and peruse my blog at thestarwarsreview.blogspot.com. May the Force be with you.